Hey, welcome back, Casibang's crew. This is video number 3 in Unit 8, Clinical Psychology. I hope everyone had a great spring break. We are going to get started back with mood disorders. So very simply, mood disorders are any type of disorder that affects your mood, quite simply, that are characterized by these emotional extremes. So the first one and probably most well-known that we're going to talk about is depression. Okay, so symptoms that need to be present in order to be diagnosed with depression: sadness, feeling worthless, changes in sleep, either sleeping a lot more or insomnia, not able to sleep, changes in eating, or any kind of suicidal behavior. There are a couple of different types of depression. First one is major depression. So this is, again, prolonged, very, very, very severe depression. So lasts without remission for at least 2 weeks. And what this means, lasts without remission, is that you never once in that 2 weeks feel okay. Now, you are constantly battling that sense of sadness or that sense of worthlessness for a solid 2 weeks. Dysthymia is the less severe version of depression, but it lasts longer. So it can last for 2 years or more. So this is the type of depression where you're able to get out of bed, you're able to function, you go on with your life. Most people probably don't know that you're depressed, but it is extremely, extremely long-lasting. You can have both at the same time, so both major depression and dysthymia. And again, women are diagnosed far more often than men. So we have a couple of ideas on causes of depression. So from our biological psychologists, there are a couple of neurotransmitters. When we were learning about neurotransmitters back in the fall, remember there were a lot of neurotransmitters that had to do with our moods and had to do with depression. So dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. There can be a genetic component. So there is a history of depression in families. So that kind of shows that sort of genetic or heritability kind of component to depression. There can be situational or environmental causes for depression, stressful life events, and the onset of depression. Okay, so if you're going through a stressful life event, and remember, these stressful life events can be happy events like having a baby or getting married, and they could be very unhappy events like losing your job or losing a loved one. So there is a correlation between stressful life events and the onset of depression. The most depressogenic life events are losses. Okay, so losing a spouse, losing a family member, losing a long-term job, losing your health, okay, being diagnosed with a very serious illness, losing income. I think of what's happening right now during the pandemic. Okay, and then there's some cognitive basis for depression. So our cognitive psychologists have weighed in on this as well. One researcher, A.T. Beck, said that depressed people hold a pessimistic view of a lot of different things. So they hold a very pessimistic view of themselves, the world, and the future. Just as a reminder, pessimistic or pessimism is just having that like negative view on everything. Depressed people distort their experiences in negative ways, so they exaggerate the bad experiences and they minimize any good experience that they might have. So, you know, if something bad happens, then it's sort of the worst possible scenario. It's going to affect everything in their life. This one negative thing is going to make everything in their life be terrible. And then if one good thing happens, they don't really sort of take that into account. They don't really celebrate the successes. And then there's the hopelessness theory. So this theory says that depression results from a pattern of thinking. A pattern meaning we're doing it constantly. Person loses hope that their life will get any better. And then these negative experiences are due to stable or global reasons. So for example, I didn't get the job because I'm stupid, or versus I didn't get the job because that interview didn't go well, or because I wasn't right for that position. Okay, so it's very sort of negative self-thought and negative self-conversation. So this graph here is showing us the percentage of 18 to 84-year-olds experiencing major depression at some point in their life. And this shows you the difference is in different countries. And then it also does show you the difference between males and females. So the male line is blue. The female line is that sort of reddish coral kind of color. So in the U.S., you see that females are diagnosed about 7% of the population. Males are about 2.5% to 3%. We see Paris and Beirut here. Paris and Beirut have some of our highest depression percentages. Okay, so Beirut may be understandable. Okay, they're a country that's been in war for a very long time. So men just under 15%, women around 23 to 24%. Paris women above 20%, but men significantly less than that. Taiwan and Korea, very, very low instances. Now, again, these are people that are diagnosed. So there could be a difference here in how many people are actually seeking help when they feel these symptoms versus they're feeling the symptoms and it's against their culture or their family to go and seek help. So they're just sort of dealing with it on their own. So there could be a lot of reasons why we see such significant differences here. The second mood disorder that we talk about is seasonal affective disorder, and this is abbreviated to SAD, S-A-D. So make sure that you remember that it's abbreviated to SAD. So seasonal affective disorder is a cyclical disorder, and it happens with the seasons. So you would cycle between severe depression, usually in the winter months, and elevated mood, usually in the spring and the summer months. So again, happens with seasonal regularity. And it's a very unique set of symptoms. So very intense hunger. You gain weight in the winter. You sleep more than usual. You're depressed more in the evening than in the morning. And this is seasonal affective disorder is definitely diagnosed more in the north than it is in the south. In the wintertime, when there is less sunlight and the days might be a little bit more gray and they're very cold, you kind of go into hibernation mode. Look at these symptoms here: intense hunger, gaining weight, sleeping more than usual. Kind of sounds like a bear hibernating for the winter, right? So in those situations where you're having less sunlight and you're not able to get outside and enjoy some outdoor weather, you may be affected by seasonal affective disorder. One of the ways that they actually treat seasonal affective disorder is by having people sit under a sun lamp. Okay, so sun is very important. It gives us vitamin D, but not only that, it does help to elevate our mood. Third mood disorder is mania. Mania is very, very hyperactive, wildly optimistic, super friendly, really outgoing, like going, almost without a break. People that experience mania sometimes will not sleep. They'll forget to eat because they're always doing things. They're always on the go. They want to try the next best thing. It's very, just very frenetic. Okay, very full of energy. And then the last one is bipolar disorder. So bipolar disorder is when a person alternates between being extremely, extremely down and depressed and then going up to that very, very high energy, very excitable state of mania. So it is this cyclical, again, it's a very cyclical type of disorder where you could be very, very, very depressed for a couple of weeks, and then you wake up one morning and you're in a manic state and you're just go, doing a lot of different things. And that could last for a few days to a few weeks. This used to be called manic depressive disorder. Not any longer. It is now bipolar disorder. So again, it is a cyclical disorder, so it happens in cycles. Mood levels swing from severe depression to extreme euphoria or mania. There's no regular relationship to the time of the year, like seasonal affective disorder. Bipolar disorder is the severe form of this disorder. There is a less severe form, and that's called cyclothymia. Here again is a very strong heritable component. So we see bipolar disorder in family members. And bipolar disorder is most often treated with lithium, right? So there is a biological component to it in that sense as well, that it can be treated with medication. There are a lot of people in the arts, writers and painters that suffer with bipolar disorder. They get their best work done when they're in their manic state. Okay, they're at their most creative at their manic state. And that can last for a little while, but while they're in their manic state, it can be very dangerous. Like I said, they don't really want to sleep. They don't want to eat. So all of this is really taking a toll on your body. And then obviously when you get into the depression stage, then you might have issues where you don't want to work at all. You can't get out of bed. You know, don't want to do any of these normal things. So here are some PET scans. Remember back to the PET scans of someone with bipolar disorder. So you see here in the depressed state that you see a lot of blue and dark blue in their brains, just very small areas of green and this very, very small area of yellow. The yellow, orange, and red are the brain's most active part. So all of these muted colors in here are showing that there is a decrease in brain activity. Here is that same person when they're in a manic state. Okay, you see a lot of yellow, orange, and red going on. So lots of brain activity happening. Okay, lots of neurons firing, lots of things going on in there. And then again, here is our depressed state. And in this one, you see even less of the little yellow area. Okay, so there's just not a lot of activity, not a lot of neurons firing in the brain of a bipolar patient in their depressed state. The last thing to talk about with mood disorders is suicide. So remember, one of the things that we talked about as far as is this a behavior considered abnormal, as are you a danger to yourself or to others? So obviously suicide puts you at a danger to yourself. So across the bottom here we have the age in years, we have the percentage of the population, and this is old information, so I'm sure there is an updated chart as well, but it just sort of gives you an idea that men generally have higher suicide rates than women do, but men with diagnosed mood disorders have quite a bit higher suicide rates, and particularly as they get older, have higher suicide rates than women do. All right, that is it for mood disorders. Please make sure that you bring your questions into class tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.